3,500 kilometres southwest, spring comes to these highland prairies a little later in the year. This is the Tibetan Plateau, also grassland, but unlike the home of the cranes, this high-altitude grassland is 4,000 metres up and much colder. Every season is harsh, with frequent strong winds. Humans move across this area with their flocks of sheep and yaks. They share the plateau with wildlife of all kinds. All have developed in their different ways to life on these very high grasslands, even thriving. Yaks have been living here for hundreds of thousands of years, since the species separated from lowland cattle. These half-ton beasts have adapted to this tough environment. Wild yaks share their physiological adaptation to the cold and altitude with their domestic cousins. In winter here, temperatures drop to -40 degrees Celsius, and yaks can lose up to 30% of their body weight. A thick coat insulates them from the cold. But their real evolutionary genius lies beneath the wool with their organs. They have extra-large lungs that have evolved over millennia to capture as much oxygen as possible at this high altitude, where the air contains less oxygen than at sea level. And their very large hearts increase the volume and rate at which the oxygenated blood can be pumped around their bodies. It's an April morning. A Manul couple emerge from the rocks they live in. They have the thickest fur of all cats, which serves as good protection from frostbite in this extreme landscape. And their short limbs and especially small ears combat the high winds that frequently whip this prairie. The familiar grassland chorus has awoken some Tibetan fox cub siblings, emerging from their home for the first time. They're now about 4 weeks old and have spent the first month of their lives in their underground den, being suckled by their mother. And so now they're finally ready to see what the grasslands have to offer, and are taking the opportunity to explore while their mother, the vixen, is hunting. But they are unaccustomed to life on the outside, and for now too cautious to wander far from the entrance to their den. This cub will be entirely dependent on his mother for the first 10 months of his life. He retreats back to wait for her return with breakfast. A plucky piker emerges from his burrow. Small and seemingly insignificant, these mammals, most closely related to the rabbit, help maintain the whole ecosystem high up on this prairie. It rarely rains on the Tibetan Plateau, but when it does, the rains are fierce and heavy. In such dry, cold terrain, flash floods could devastate the environment, sliding over the impervious land without any absorption. But the millions